Yeah, it seems to be going live. I see a tick, 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 and tick. And yeah, to answer your question, it's I think been 2.5 weeks where my daughter has got this nice thing where she wakes up every night in the middle of the night somewhere and has to be tucked in again. So basically, it boils down to get up in the middle of sleep, literally just tuck her in again, and then go back to sleep again, which is obviously awesome for being able to sleep.
Parenting, right?
Let's see.
Am I right?
Yeah. Parenting. Yay. Cool. Okay. I see that we have got all of the things live. YouTube seems live. They all seem live. Let's just double check again. Also, I would love if actually, you know what? Darko, this time I'm going to be smart. I'm going to shop at S-Mart. No, I'm joking.
S-Mart.
Do you know?
You're going to test out our audio or what?
Yes, I'm going to test out our audio using my mobile phone and the AWS Twitch app. And just in case you missed that reference, please tell me you know The Evil Dead, because that's where that comes from. If you don't, you need to watch it.
Yeah. I watched Evil Dead, yeah, of course. Okay, I haven't skipped that much. I didn't watch Alien and all that stuff, but yeah.
I'm not going to be able to hear you now, but let's go in here and then we can make some jokes. Let's see if Darko's levels are good enough today or not.
Darko's levels are always good enough.
Blah. Wait, this is complicated. There's a play button.
Is there a button? Okay, so I think my levels may be a bit quieter because I've been reduced them because somebody told me I was really peaking at some other point. See. I'm not sure. So
okay, so I am still very, very loud. So
okay, it could be that I'm
up
quiet,
again.
So yeah.
And
welcome to setting up the stream with Cobus and Darko. So
yes. Yeah. So welcome to a Monday morning edition of Bean Streaming. Although technically for me it's lunch already because of the joys of daylight savings time and the rest of the world changing, but we don't change.
We are at 11 o'clock in Europe at least, so at least Central Europe. I need to pull my chair up.
Oh, don't break it. There we go. Cool. Yeah, so this is the weekly session. We have it on Mondays and Fridays at the same time slot where we talk random tech. Well, not too random. It tends to be all AWS related, given that we both are developer advocates at AWS. But we play around with tech, or we discuss tech, or we have a very nostalgic discussion, or we try and clickbait people saying this is going to be the DevOps interview questions that you shouldn't answer. Yeah. Click here to learn more, or something like that. I'm not good with clickbait. I'm sorry. So as you might have picked up until this point, it is fairly unscripted. So firstly, welcome to everybody. We do know that we always welcome people, and we always ask them, or try to remember to ask them, where are they from?
Exactly.
And while we get that in, Darko, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Darko Mesaros. I'm also a developer advocate, same as this gentleman next to me, based in Berlin, Germany, but originally from Serbia. So I've been working with AWS for almost 5 years now. I keep saying that, and I keep adding almost. Well, until I'm going to be 5 years in Amazon in February, so that's going to be my big anniversary. And 5 years is a big thing in AWS because you get a badge which has this kind of a color, this yellowish color on a badge. So yay! Looking forward to that. But hey, it's been. This is officially, by far, the longest company I worked in. So usually I didn't work in a place longer than like 2.5 years. And this has been quite the home right now. And best job I ever had. So by far.
I must say my longest stint was actually 4.5 years. And funny enough, it was my very first job. And it was not because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And it was actually, first job was actually awesome. It was software development, it was databases, it was hardware, it was firewalls, it was complicated online systems. It was just a lot of fun. So,
dude, okay, so let's start there. Tell me about your first day of IT work. Your first IT job, your first day, if you can remember, back in the 60s, whenever that happened, right? I don't know.
Okay.
Was it still were you guys still a colony back then?
Wow. Yes.
The Commonwealth. I'm sorry. So tell me about your first day of IT work, first day of your first IT job, because we all have other jobs, I guess. Yeah. Hey, Buzzard.
So The place that I worked at had just gotten me a new machine that I need to set up
Okay.
because that's part of day one work. And I first had to stretch my arms a little bit because this was the good old days of CRT screens.
Oh,
So
yes.
I had two 17-inch CRTs, and this was considered like awesome. It's like having a second screen is like, holy crap. I'm like, this is my first experience of that, other than gaming at home, obviously. So it was literally unpacking the machine, installing. At that point, I ran Windows XP, if I remember correctly, put in context. It was still very new. And setting up all the different tools and getting permission to access all the various servers, and also learning what this thing called Cygwin is. What's PuTTY? What's this SSH thing? Because I mean, what the hell's this crap? I mean, I'm Windows. What open up window. Because I had walked into a company that was running on Gentoo Linux in production with a Java stack. So enterprise service beans, ESBs, and we used IDE as we used Eclipse as our IDE. And the front end was built with Java Swing. Just now, that should push it back quite a lot. This was before. At some point, we upgraded to use JFaces, which is a Swing framework that makes it easier to design the windows.
But were these desktop applications? Were these desktop applications or web applications?
Everything. So it was a web. Let's just call it a gaming engine. Yes, as they're known in quotes. It was a gaming engine, and then the multiple components to it. The first one is the actual game interface was a Flash application, which I didn't write on or hack on anything. I didn't know Flash at all at that point. Then backend was, like I said, it's a Java app running on Tomcat. Apologies, JBoss. A very stripped down version of JBoss. And then we wrote the back office using Swing and Java as a Java thick client that we loaded over the web. And then what else was there? There was reports, which we did with, so we had Microsoft SQL Server 2005 at that point. I think we just upgraded from 2003 as the database engine. And what other auxiliary bits were there? That's about it at the moment.
It was a Flash game running in a Java window? Are you making double inception here?
No. It was in the browser. So Flash app running inside your browser.
Okay.
Right.
I thought like you had like a Java. Okay. I thought you had like even a Java applet. Okay.
To manage all the bits and interface and fix things and add users and all that, the normal admin stuff that most people write apps on, but everybody forgets about. Yeah.
Hey, does anybody remember Java applets? Like the things you would load from a browser? My God. Okay.
JNLP. I remember is the extension for the file. Basically, it's just a little XML file. That XML file tells Java go download it off the internet over there and then run it. Yes, bread and butter. Love those apps. So much fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was day one, setting up all the bits, and through day two was locking everyone out of the database.
Yeah.
In production.
Yeah.
So
this is a thing from Mittens the Killer Bunny, and I was just about to mention this. iDRAC or even HP ILO, or I think IBM Rack was basically Java. It was a Java applet which would boot up from your browser, and it would be used to mount stuff or manage your server remotely, and it was horrible. I mean, okay, sorry, it did a job, but it was very clunky. It was not stable. I don't know. I spend a lot of times installing OSs via that thing. You have to mount an ISO and just hope it doesn't crash. So, so
nice.
Continue, sir.
So that was it. Basically, figuring out, just setting everything up, doing all of that, figuring out how this Linux thing worked. It took me 8 months to switch from Windows XP to jump straight in the dead end. Not the deep end, the dead end, because it took me quite a while to get it up and running. Was Gentoo as a desktop. That was rough. It's even after having run Gentoo now on servers and getting to know Gentoo and eMerge and package management, all of those fun things, and setting up multiple servers and things. That was rough. That was exceedingly rough for me. It's like 3 days, and then only could I log in again. Well, with a UI.
Okay, well, it's Gentoo. It takes time. It's the patience OS.
Yeah. So that was basically day one, and I mean, then I was immediately learning about how to actually right queries and connecting to things remotely, how port forwarding worked, because that's basically how we access everything in production. There was SSH, you SSH to the main application server, then port forward everything you need to access from there. And that's also how you did remote debugging. And yeah, that was fun.
And what was the biggest shock of that first day for you? I mean, if you can recall.
Trying to think now, is realizing that work isn't nearly as serious as I thought. So just for context over here, I pitched up for the interview in a full suit with a nice shirt and a nice tie. And there are these people sitting there in t-shirts and shorts, as in not even necessarily ironed or neat. I'm like, I kind of knew things were informal, okay. And then it's like, okay, cool. Oh, by the way, here's your machine, install your stuff. Here's the network credentials. This is how it works. Let us know when you're ready. And so I'm writing everything down furiously, trying to make a good impression, getting things up and running and all that. And I mean, even for my first day, because I picked up that this place was less formal, so I didn't pitch up in my suit because you learn from your things. But I still pitched up, I think, with like a neat pair of jeans, nice shoes, and like I think maybe even a button shirt. I can't remember the button shirt, but possibly a t-shirt because it was November, and November's quite hot for us normally. And I just realized, like, you don't have to sit at your desk. You get up, you go have coffee, you walk up, because we were in a trendy part of town. You walk up outside, go get a coffee. It's like, wow, work's not that bad. I can get used to this.
Wow, man! And again, that's a very positive experience. I think if you go into a job position, and I can say that I didn't do it that way. I didn't ever come in a suit or something like that. But I had people join my the company I worked at in like full blown suit and tie on the first 2 days, and then realize I'm sitting in basically my sweatpants. So, but
nice.
So just first, let's address the question from Coffee with PUBG. The topic of discussion is, we started off, what was your first work day in an IT company? So we'd like to discuss. I'm actually interested to see what Cobus has done.
Nostalgic.
How was nostalgic? Basically, it's a bit of a trip down memory lane to discuss how things used to be and how things are a bit different now. So if you have any questions regarding how things look right now at Amazon, at AWS, and maybe something from our experiences, how work is, how to approach work, maybe we can share something in our extensive experience as well. And question for you was from Adrian. Did you have a moment while working with Linux that you thought, hey, I really miss Windows?
Initially,
I did,
initially being able to just install apps, being able to, download them and double click and there it runs, and the familiarity of it. That was the thing that got me the most initially. But I must say that, I mean, I very quickly had a VM up and running because most of our dev work was done in a VM. So we did file mounting out into the operating system, so you could actually use Eclipse there and all that. But that only lasted a little bit. So I got like really into Linux, and it's like, because this was my first proper, I'd like touched Linux before, but not really properly. So yes, I did miss it initially, but then after a while, I'm like, hell no. And especially when we had KDE 3 running, the number of key bindings that we had for different applications, because that's one thing I still miss, because KDE 4 didn't have it. It's like we had key bindings for different apps. So I literally knew exactly where I was going. It's like the port was Control Shift and J, I think, to jump to Eclipse and those kind of things. So coding, terminal doing things, remoting somewhere, all of those things, like you literally just, the Windows just like popped in front of you. And I've never actually gotten back to that workflow again, because I haven't found something that does as good shortcuts for me as that did, because I always now have to go move the screen, click with the mouse somewhere, and it still feels like I went backwards and got slower.
Can I sing you the song of my people when it comes to keyboards and shortcuts? I mean, I'm a person who uses window managers. I only do keyboard shortcuts, all the things. So I understand that thing. It's for me, it's very important. I struggle with Windows that even now. I mean, I run I press the Windows key and just run a bunch of type a bunch of things, and it just pops up the window I want. But still on Linux, it is it is much more easier to do those things. So definitely, I'm gonna say the modern versions of GNOME and KDE, if you want to go full blown desktop environments, they are very capable of setting up keyboard shortcuts for anything. And luckily with Linux, you have things like the SXHKBD. Yeah, weird name. It's basically the X keyboard daemon. Basically, it's a shortcut keyboard daemon. You can run a daemon in the background. It will just interpret every keyboard shortcut you do to whatever you want. So it is currently right now that you can do whatever. I run DWM on my laptop, and yeah, it's all just keyboard shortcuts, and you have things running up. So I get that fully. But I must say, when it comes to going from Windows to Linux, the first time I had experience was in high school. I used Mandriva Linux. Mandrake. It was back then. It was Mandrake.
Mandrake, yeah.
It didn't change the name to Mandriva. Yeah. And I've installed it. I had KDE running on it, and it was amazing. Couple things. Internet didn't work. There were no dial-up drivers for Win modems, so like you couldn't connect your dial-up modem. And back then I had dial-up. And then even when I moved on to like wireless internet, because that's the internet we had back home, the Wi-Fi cards required something called an NThis wrapper, which was like you would wrap a Windows driver into like a Linux thing and something, and it didn't never work. So I know I used it. I used Slackware for a while, and at that moment I was like, you know what? I can't use Linux. So I didn't have any applications that I wanted to use and no games. And I mean, I was 16 years old. So it was like, you know what? No, I'm sorry. Yeah. So basically my first proper Linux, even today, I cannot fully utilize Linux. I still am missing things. I wish I could run only Linux for everything I do, but it's impossible. So ergo, I cannot use this camera on Linux. So I have to run Windows. Yeah, so it's a bit, we're getting there, but yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
But your first job.
But let me just answer a question to Coffee with PUBG.
Sorry,
can we make apps without code? As I do not want to build by scratch, though I am from tech background. So Coffee with PUBG. There are a few services out there that can support you in a thing they called no code. There are I can know the one I know one from AWS, and it's called Honeycode. Honeycode, yeah. Honeycode is a service that basically enables you to take a data source like a database or a table or something, and basically modify or work with that data through some forms or kind of like that. So it gives you the ability to write zero to no code and make an application. Again, really depends what kind of application you want to make. If you want to make something very specific, something very overly complex, this will not do the job for you. Like if you want to make an application that will be like a sign-up page, or I don't know, like some data entry type of things, or even some generating some reports, yes, you can do it with Honeycode. But if you want to do something much more advanced, you need to code. But yeah,
you always need code of some kind.
Exactly. Big Chief Rick. Everybody has that one Windows VM jump box, and that's a fair point. I have this thing on my Linux desktop. I have a Windows VM just running just in case. But to be honest, most of the things I need on Windows are either Microsoft Office. So I need PowerPoint. PowerPoint is like a tool I use often. So literally, that's the only thing.
Really? Why? What do you use it for?
I don't know. I make this thing called presentations. I tried using LibreOffice for a while. I tried using LibreOffice, but it just doesn't work. I mean, LibreOffice is good unless you're working with people who use exclusively PowerPoint. And PowerPoint is something it doesn't work. You cannot attempt to open up a PowerPoint presentation in LibreOffice, but it's just broken a lot of times. So I have to have some form of Microsoft Office available on it. Visio. I don't use Visio. I never use the Visio in that capacity. If I need to draw diagrams, I usually just go for draw.io, and just that's sufficient for me. And to be honest, it's been a while since I've drawn diagrams. And if I want to do some very simple diagrams, I tend to do them in PowerPoint as well. Like when I make a presentation, just plop things inside. So, but yeah. Oh well, if you do a physical network diagrams, logically, of course, then you need something more advanced. Makes sense. So my first job, 2007 November. My first IT job was in a local ISP. So it was a small local ISP in my hometown. called Nordnet, and I mean they were the one of the three ISPs back then, and they were an ISP back then. We had two types of internet you can buy. You can buy dial-up internet, and you can get wireless internet. And wireless internet, I believe I explained this to you. It was like kind of the thing that you showed me in Cape Town, where you had like a bunch of towers and with Wi-Fi, and like they used 802.11b or G, and you would have these homemade antennas at home and coaxial cable, and it's just a mess. But that was the way you can get fast internet. Fast meaning 128 kilobits or 256 at most.
Oh, wow.
So, and it was like expensive. It was like €2, 100 megabytes or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
That sucks.
yeah. So people would basically, I would have like a budget of maybe 100 or 200 megabytes per month, and that was it. And I would basically, I remember
Well,
having
that was a
plug.
lot back in the day. That was a lot back in the day.
It was 2007. I mean, we didn't use YouTube or anything like that. Videos were out of the question. One of the things that I opted in is I had a plugin for Firefox back then to not load images. Basically, it would prevent loading images.
Oh,
from pages.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would basically that would make it much easier, right? So, but but still, it was not the best of experiences. From there, I got a job there, but I didn't got a job as like it was kind of a technical job, but in between, I was kind of between like sales, because we had a sales department, and technical support. So I wasn't supporting customers with internet problems, but I was supporting customers who would buy equipment from us, and like I would potentially install operating systems on it and fix computers, set up servers and stuff. So we had buyers from like local buyers, and like they would buy on bulk computers or even sometimes servers, things that weren't too oftenly seen in some shops, right? Like local shops.
Okay.
And my job was basically to be the guy who's gonna order these things for other people. So
Okay.
my first day on my job is like I got brought to this room where a lot of people sat, and they showed me to my computer. It was a Windows XP machine.
Ooh.
It was, I had two 14-inch monitors, CRT monitors connected to them. And like you, I was blown away. I'm like, two monitors? What? This is amazing. Never seen that before. And I remember having one in front of me and one on the side. So it was like two bulky screens. And the first thing they introduced me to is like, this is your email client. I remember using Mozilla Thunderbird. But the problem was the local ISP had such horrible spam filters. That there was this program I used before getting the email that would open up the mailbox just with headers, and I would automatically delete all the spam and then receive only the good email. I remember that we used POP3 email back then. No IMAP, still it was POP3. So it was a POP3 setup. And my other main tool of work was MSN Messenger. Believe it or not, MSN Messenger, or was it MSN back then, or it was Live? I think it was still MSN.
It was MSN Messenger, yeah.
Yeah, and basically I was using MSN Messenger to communicate with different retailers who would give us the equipment, and I would buy it from them and sell it onwards, right? So I remember first time seeing a guy use a Linux machine as his main workhorse, and that was amazing for me. I thought this guy was like, wow, he did all, like, he's amazing. He knows all the things if he can work on Linux. But yeah, I was blown away by that.
Sorry, the light that you see hitting my face now is me just seeing that ICQ still exists. It's called ICQ New now.
I think I even still remember my ICQ number, 2887954 or something. I extensively used ICQ. So ICQ. Well, back then it wasn't. Back then I wasn't using ICQ, but back then it was MSN. MSN was my main form of chat, and Skype was just getting big back then. I believe Skype still had the red logo back then, if you recall. Skype, before it had a blue S, it had a red S. And somewhere around that time, Skype was just getting bigger. I think Microsoft still didn't buy them off. They were still under this Estonian company. Yeah, I remember, but my MSN was the big thing there then. And I remember I needed to know the technical things about what equipment is what and what to order. Like I needed to know those things. So if somebody would ask me, I need a server or something like that, I need to find the most competent competent equipment for the best amount of money out there, right? So, but yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
this is super interesting. Yeah, there's ICQ, but it doesn't seem like it took the old ICQ accounts across, because it doesn't seem. But yeah,
Okay.
so that does put age on it. So the question is, how much did you use Pigeon?
None. Pigeon. I've seen Pigeon. I remember when installing Mandriva or Mandrake Linux, that it had Pigeon installed, because I know Pigeon came with it, and it had Hex Chat. So I use that because back then in 2006, 2005, 6, and 7, the big thing where I come from was IRC. Like IRC was the way we chat to my friends. That was just basically the bee's knees. We had a local Serbian IRC server, and we all used that. And my first thing on Linux was like, I need IRC. And when I fired up Hex Chat, it's like, that's amazing, compared to like using MIRC, MIRC on Windows. It was vastly different for me. So I remember that. But Pigeon, I've actually used Pigeon until recently. So like at Amazon, in premium support, you have the option of running either a Windows, a Mac, or a Linux desktop. Right. So you can have like a MacBook and a Linux desktop. So for a long time in support, I ran a Linux desktop, and to even use Chime, I used Pigeon. You can use Chime with Pigeon. So I used all those things for Pigeon. Yeah. So Pigeon is a great thing. Pigeon is just, I like the fact that it's a multi-tenant or not multi-tenant, multi-protocol IM, and it's a proper application. It's not just an HTML5. It's not a Electron wrapper. It's a proper thing. So it is really good. I remember back in the day, I was using this thing called Trillion. If you recall, Trillion. Trillion is the application I think I spent the most time on, because it had like both MSN. It could do Skype as well. It could do some IRC, ICQ.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were the things I was just spending so much time on.
I must say the thing that I missed the most, because I also did Merc or MIRC on Windows, and then when moving to Linux, is that you couldn't do Alt F4 for ops anymore. It just didn't work.
Yeah, no, yeah, I didn't have those things. You had to know the commands and a whole bunch. Yeah, I know.
No, I'm joking. Alt F4, close the window. Yep.
But I remember that Windows application had a bunch of like, it called it scripts. And you would have this spiced up IRC client with all the things.
NukeIt and all the images and checking people's connection details, where they're from, if they've set a password or not for their NIC. Because if they didn't, that's the first place you went to mess with them.
Yeah.
I remember, like in Windows XP had a lot of issues with the networking. So there were so many ways you could send broken packets and just watch people drop off IRC back in the day. Because obviously, as a kid, that's what you did. You annoyed other people on the internet.
We did that. We did send those broken packets across, and there was a way you can do it. I don't recall what it was, but you can send a broken packet, and if they're using a pretty outdated version of Windows, you would just break their connection or reset their connection. So it's like that kind of a thing. Okay, just let me scroll through the messages here. From Coffee with a Pug, I want to build a customer-to-customer e-commerce app. Okay, no, you would definitely need to do something more advanced than just no code. Yeah. So definitely check it out for that, right? How should I choose an app developer, and what's the qualities of a good app developer, and what's the technical things to look for? Oh boy. I would. How would you answer this? Especially if you have somebody who's completely new, or somebody who I'm not sure. Coffee with PUBG. Have you ever like ran a company? Have you ever had employees or something like that? When it comes to employing developers, it's a very broad topic, especially if you want to deploy a single developer.
Yeah.
Especially for something this complex, if you want to make a big thing like eBay, I think you would need more than a single developer. You would need more folks there. It's not just a matter of somebody bashing out the code. You would need more effort. And now, when it comes to iOS and Android, it's not just iOS and Android. You cannot make a C2C application exclusively in iOS and Android. You need somebody to make the backend. You need to make a whole lot of different things. So, of course, things exist out there that can help you out, but my first thing would be find somebody who already did something similar to that, and then they can tell you exactly what you need and who you need and how many people you need. But I would say that one person is not enough. So
yeah, definitely. But also, I think you need, I would at this point definitely, if you're thinking of building something from scratch, definitely go find yourself what sounds like a technical co-founder, because you need to have someone you can trust with this, because there's so many ways you can do it. And unfortunately, remember, people tend to want to be paid by hour in terms of work that they do. And there are unfortunately a lot of people that will also like just churn out hours and not give you what you want. So it's a very hard question. It's
correct.
Finding someone who can build something. So at the very least, go chat and figure out if you've got someone that you know that can help you with assessing this. Because there's no like, here's the single 2 things you ask and then type scenario.
Oh yeah, definitely. So again, especially for something as complex, you would need much more stakeholders inside of your company or organization that you want to do that. Comment here from Kanir. The best thing he did was Screen plus IRSSI to idle on multiple IRC servers. So I used IRSSI for a while, in the last 5 years, and I've switched from IRSSI to, oh my god, what is the new one? No, it was still RSSI. Yes, sorry, it's the command line IRC client. But actually, I used the ZNC bouncer. So I set up a ZNC bouncer, and that was a ZNC bouncer is like a thing you can set up on a remote server, and it will be connected to multiple different. I believe it can be connected to multiple different IRC servers, and you can just connect from your workstation to the bouncer, and then the bouncer will distribute the messages. It was amazing. I actually have an EC2 instance running a ZNC bouncer right now. So for some reason. And believe it or not, there's still an active community on IRC out there. So I like that. And even at AWS. We until 2 years ago used IRC. Like internally, support was fully on IRC. The main communication was through IRC. We had our internal IRC channel. I think it still exists. Do people use it with Slack now? But yeah, it is a big thing. Speaking of big things, I passed 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Hooray!
Nice.
So I have 1,003 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I am very happy about that. I never thought that I would reach 1,000 subscribers. But
you need to do balloons and take a photo and do some things with it now.
Yeah. Need to get drunk. So what usually happens is when people reach 1,000 subscribers, like, oh, I need to do Q&A. But I've done so many Q&As on these streams that people who watch my YouTube channel probably know. Yeah.
How does it make you feel though, Darko?
It makes me feel excited. Like I'm making a change in the world. Smash that like button and subscribe. But yeah, actually, I made a video, and the video is coming up in an hour and a half. So at 1 p.m. Is it 1 p.m.? I'm not sure when I scheduled it. It is coming at 11:45. So in 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, a new video is coming out on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested to see, number one, the amazing editing skills of your boy. They're not amazing. And if you want to see a bit of AWS CDK in the forest, while I almost trip and fall, you get the chance to see that on my YouTube channel. So it's youtube.com/ROP12, which is somewhere here. There. Yeah. So in 15 minutes, a new video is coming up. Hopefully it's going to be interesting. I took the approach of like, hey, let me do something in the forest, and just walked around in the forest and talked about AWS CDK. So,
but
okay,
going from our first job into a most current job, and what you just spoke about is one of the things that I learned here. It's the weirdest experiences where you are in multiple places at the same time with pre-recorded things and pre-scheduled events and things. It's like the first time I did something like this, where I've got a video going out as well as, let's say, pre-recorded talk, or you schedule a whole bunch of tweets and things up front. It's just like, it feels so weird. Like you're standing here, like having a nice chat, and then all of a sudden, like, bing, 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 bing. Why is my phone going beep? It's like weird. But yeah.
People have noticed. Yeah. But I mean, one of the things that I tried when I joined the first This team, and it was like, oh, let me I want to make sure that if I'm talking at one point, that people do not realize that it's a recorded talk, and I'm kind of trying to make it silly, like, oh, this is live. It's not, and I've given up on that. Like people, a lot of times when we're doing talks, they're not live, especially virtual talks. Well, physical talks, doing it recorded would be difficult, but not impossible. Yeah, a lot of times you will see us, and I think one of the last times we did this talk at the same moment I had a live talk somewhere else happening. So yeah, it is. We need to scale. Thank you, LolSpark, for sharing my YouTube channel link. And I got a new subscriber. Thank you whoever subscribed right now. So I'm not sure if it was anybody from chat, but thank you for the subscription.
Can I also get some subscribers?
Yes, please subscribe to Cobus as well. Cobus is also doing videos, and Cobus does videos on Terraform.
No.
So yeah, it's Cobus Cloud.
Cobus used to do a lot of videos. The last one has been a little bit rough, but there are big plans for next year. Reinvent just has to go past.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I'm actually having 2 tech checks tonight at 10 o'clock for reInvent to kind of wrap up my copy edit for my one talk and a tech check for another one. So, and I need to record most likely this week. So as you can see, the white void of death is here, where I'm going to be recording stuff. So
yeah, it's one of the things that's just quickly to explain that to people. So when we record our videos, we actually record 2 streams. The first is you and your face, and then the other one is the actual slide or demo, whatever it is that you're doing. And for us, what we do is when recording our face, we have to do it with a white background because there are potential plans for reusing the content somewhere else. Also, the decision was made that it looked a bit weird with all of these different backgrounds of things and stuff in the background. So obviously you can see my thing has got like Star Wars things and other stuff on there.
A decision which we disagree with, by the way. I disagree with, but okay.
But luckily, we've got a leadership principle that's called disagree and commit, which means we don't have to agree to continue doing something to the best of our ability.
Exactly. But yeah, so we have to record this, and it's a whole process. It's not easy to do that, especially for a big ticket event such as reInvent, where you have to have a lot of stakeholders look into it and what you're doing and how you're doing it and a whole bunch of different things. So
and don't have a shadow.
Yeah, exactly. Don't have a. Well, actually, they don't care. So shadow, they don't care. Like I've done my tech check, and I told the guy, "Hey, I seem to have a shadow here." Like, oh, it's fine.
Okay. Oh, they'll probably edit it out.
I don't know, like, because I told him that when we did it for the Dev Day, but Dev Day is all done by us professionals. Mind you, a lot of the talks recorded for reInvent are going to be done by people who do not generally do talks, right? And who just received these things to record with. And yeah, so we can only expect so much. So I think they're trying to make it more uniform rather than perfect. So, which is okay.
Okay, well, that's fine, yeah.
But yeah, because I only have a single source of light in front of me, and that's it. And they're said it's fine. And there's shadows. And okay.
Yeah, I've got mine as you saw me move. This is how I'm cheating at the moment, where I've got a little light behind me. Otherwise, the background just isn't. It's either too light or too dark, and complicated.
To answer the question from Adrian, what made you decide you want to live the thug life as a YouTube creator? The coronavirus decided that for me. So usually Cobus and I would be not doing this, unfortunately. We would be on the road, talking at conferences, basically seeing you all in person, which would be much more interesting than doing it via Twitch. But that being said, doing it via Twitch and YouTube is so fun because we get to have a live interaction with all the folks all the time. So a lot of people who come to our streams often, we recognize you and thank you for being here. So we're happy that we can see you much more often than we could have seen you in person. But otherwise, we would be doing a lot of the in-person stuff. And but Cobus's role has just changed. Cobus is now in the digital marketing team. Is that?
Oh, it's the online team.
Online.
So, and here's the joke. That doesn't really mean anything different at the moment, because guess what? We are all online and we're not traveling. So, but I mean, going forward, what the biggest change for me is that I will no longer be traveling as much, because we now have a second little kid in the house. So I've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and as you can imagine, they are busy. So I can't be on the road anymore that much, because I used to be like 30-40% away from home at least.
Yeah.
Because there's, Africa's far, or the bottom of Africa, and South Africa is far away from where all the other European stuff happens. And yeah, flying.
You had a lot of travel there, right? So yeah, but mind you, I would argue that working online right now, at least for me, has been much more engaging in a sense that I had to do much more work online, even though you're working it all from home. The thing is, you kind of don't have these limits, and I have not introduced limits to myself. When you do things in person, you have a limit. This is when the stuff is happening. This is when your flight is. This is when you have to get there, and that's it. Right now, there's no limit. You're sitting at home. You wake up in the morning. You sit in front of your computer and just keep on chugging until you drop. And saying yes to many things, caused a problem. So it has been.
Someone pointed out a very nice thing to me the other day, which is no is a complete sentence.
Exactly. Oh yeah. That is good. Ramades makes an interesting comment here. The first job I had as a programmer, I had a software company which deployed stolen software. Wow. But you mean like pirated software or something else, or like stolen intellectual property?
Stolen source code.
Wow.
So I know of someone who was in a situation like this as well, where they had a software developer that's building some apps and things for them as an employee, and then didn't go that well. So ultimately the person left, and then they looked at the code and they started digging into it, and they saw a big contracting house's details inside of these files, and they're like, what the heck happened over here? And then they dug into the files and they saw that this person had actually just stolen the files from where he previously worked and copy pasted, not even bothering to change the actual names in there. And there was a very awkward discussion, because at that point they were actually using that contracting house as well as some of the other projects that they had. So they went to him and said, listen, we're going to play it open. This happened. We just found this in our code base because of this one person. Have you got some contractors that are willing to help us with this? And there was some very unhappy back and forth over there, and they wanted to ask licensing fees and things for it. But yeah, it was a fun discussion.
Yeah.
Don't steal software.
When I started work back then, like 2007 and 6, software piracy was not the biggest of concerns where I come from, right? So it was like, of course, people were attempting not to do it, but personal, like, no, I don't know of anybody who bought Windows back then, like in a private capacity. Neither did I. But like companies were just kind of avoiding all of that. Now, 2007, 8, Microsoft started increasing the way they the audits of licenses, and we actually had a proper law in place to prevent those things. So, but initially it was just like a Wild West. Like, you just run anything you have. Oh, I can just download this. Oh, Exchange server. What is it? It's free. So yeah, but lots of things have changed. I mean, I come from a third world country, so it was different then. I wouldn't compare that to at least the Western world. But yeah, you can buy Windows now. You can.
Yes.
You can buy Windows.
And they ship it to you. Look.
Ooh, that's the latest version, is it? I believe it's like $200 now to buy Windows 10 Pro. It's still expensive. I'm still intrigued why Microsoft is still selling Windows, because it's kind of losing relevance. Money, I know, but I think I think Microsoft makes more money on Office licensing and server licensing than it does on desktop licensing. I'm not sure. That's an information I got from somebody 10 years ago. But I would imagine having like Windows 10 as free, because especially they gave it out for free, a free upgrade to everybody who had Windows 7 for a while, and still keep on selling it. It's just weird. But hey.
But I mean, I must say, the one thing that they did change is the ability to link a Windows install to your personal account via your, I think it's the Microsoft account or the Live account or whatever you call that. Then you log into, like, let's say you reinstall Windows 10 now and you log in and it says, oh, you've got a valid license, congrats. I must say that I appreciate, because I've done a reinstall a couple of times, and the fact that I don't have to keep track of where in the house I put my CD key, because I still have a physical disk with a nice holograms and everything on there. I must say, they do look pretty.
They do look pretty, and I agree with that. But no, I mean, so I bought Windows a long time ago. I bought Windows 7 like a few years ago, and so far I had that serial key and been using all that even for my Windows 10 installs. So it just works. And if you reinstall your Windows 10 on this desktop, it will not ask you for a key. Just detects that this was a valid hardware configuration, whatever it does, and it just keeps on using it. So it's fine. But again, I think going down the line, this is kind of my gut feeling that Microsoft will slowly either reduce the pricing of Windows, or at least eliminate for the home license or something like that, because especially them going more into open source and they're more adopting. And you see, like all the major operating systems, Linux is a very usable operating system right now, right? Not like 20 years ago where, and Mac OS is free, but you have to run it on a Mac. But yeah, so you pay the Apple tax for it no matter what.
Sorry, I'm actually looking at the timeline of Windows license and or Windows versions that came out, because I see Windows 10 has now been out since 2015 July, so we're hitting on 5.5 years, which is quite long.
And that's it. There's not going to be Windows 11. Windows 10 is the end. That's how they do it. It's a rolling release now. Every 2 quarters they're making a big push. So now it's 20H2, the version. I actually reinstalled it on my wife's computer last week, and yeah. That's how they do it. There's no more. You will never have to buy a new Windows according to the information. I don't know. You will never have to buy a new Windows according to information that is available right now. So
yeah.
So that's
which is nice, because I mean, I also at one point, I mean, obviously when you're younger, you tend to do stupid things like run software.
Yeah.
There were so many ways you could like get like a key that worked for a while, and then you could apply for like another program and you get another key that works for a while and things like that, which is weird. But I mean, I got to a point where I'm like, I'm writing software professionally. I'm too scared of what all the other things are that generate these keys, or where I can buy them or sell them, or all those things. Like, let me rather do this properly. Yeah.
And also, so I had this discussion, right? So my wife, she does 3D design and 3D art and all that stuff, and we discussed how expensive 3D software is. Like Cinema 4D is like $4,000 or something like that. Like Creative Cloud is like €50 a month, and ZBrush is X amount of money per month. It's not expensive. If you're making money out of it, it's not expensive. Like, if you invest, I don't know, €4,000 into something that lasts for 5-10 years, and you earn 200,000 or 500,000 euros from that investment, that's fine. Like, if you're making money from your software, it's perfectly fine to kind of. It's always fine to pay for it, but it's especially fine then. It's like, do not try to cut that corner, because that's just being lazy, right? If you're already making money out of it, you can pay for it, right? So
yeah, that's the cost of operating.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, definitely. It's like, yeah, no, it's but, and the thing is, when you're doing it for yourself, you need to factor that into your pricing of your per hour rates and things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you invested money into something, you need to get it back. So that's just that's how business works. Yeah. So yeah, and Edge is okay now. I mean, I've been playing around with Edge. I have a problem with Microsoft operating systems that it's just too intrusive. Like, just the fact that you install Windows 10 and it asks you, oh, do you want a unique advertising ID? What?
No.
I don't want ads on my OS, and yeah, so I hate that. Like, I am with a passion. I hate what Microsoft has done with Windows 10 and its advertising and all this stuff. Like, a Samsung actually has done that on its phones. I open up a Samsung application and it's an ad. I'm like, buddy, I paid $1,000 for this phone. I don't want your stinking ads on it. Like, don't do that. So yeah, I ran a few debloater scripts on Windows to kind of completely rip my Windows out of those things. Some things will still need to exist, but I'm trying to prevent it as much as possible, because that's just not nice. But okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
okay.
I just Darko. So you'll be pleased to know that summer has finally arrived. So I'm now I need to set up or switch on the aircon during the day.
No,
we'll see how long it lasts.
I'm not pleased at all. I'm looking forward to cold. And this is currently we have a warm day in Berlin. It's raining outside. It's like 95% humidity outside, but it is 17 degrees Celsius outside. So it's not the best thing in the world. I wish it was colder, but tomorrow it's going to be 4 degrees. So yeah, looking forward to the winter.
Yep. No, we're getting into summer.
Nope. Oh, well, man, Jesus, no.
28.
Take your summer with you, please. Yeah.
No, but this 28 is like, oh, this is a warmish summer day, and nothing's particularly special for us. I mean,
Yeah.
once it gets to like 34, 35, then we start complaining a little bit. But I mean, yeah.
This summer has been relatively mild in Germany. We had it like I think it went only one day over 35 or up to 35. It was just relatively mild compared to like last summer was much warmer. So I'm happy for that, and I'm hoping for a very cold winter. Speaking of winter, where are you going for holiday?
To Romania.
Are you gonna take vacation at least to visit your parents or something like that?
Yes. So being in the southern hemisphere, December is traditionally our big summer holiday period.
Yeah.
However, there's this small conference thing happening at the end of the year. Do you know? I think it's called reInvent.
Yes.
Which is from 30 November till I think 20 December.
Yeah.
So I will definitely be taking at least the Christmas week, which is that week after, and the week with New Year. I think those two weeks I'll be taking off this year. But yeah, it's.
I mean, you should, especially after reInvent. So usually after reInvent, what we do is we just go away. It's just like just take a day off, take a week off, or something like that, because you burn out a lot during reInvent. But yeah, I'm gonna actually be doing all my reInvent stuff from holiday. I'm going to Serbia. I'm going to visit my folks, and gonna be there for a while. And I'm gonna be doing streaming from Serbia. So in I think 2 weeks' time, Bean Streaming is coming to you live from Serbia, if the internet is okay. I actually need to upgrade my internet connection. Exactly. I actually have to upgrade my internet connection back home. So and I have a lot of dogs, so you might hear a lot of barking in the background, and it's going to be a completely new background between no old monitor. Actually, I have an old monitor there. I'm gonna make something work.
Don't worry, I can wake my dog up here. She's having a nap here behind me.
Yeah, make sure I'm going to bring my dogs on screen, and they can also bark, and we have the dogs streaming as well.
But I mean, just one quick comment. Yeah. Yes,
Full Motion says it's the same person.
We're just a twin.
Yeah. Say your comment.
But just that comment on your obviously reInvent is like super busy for us, and it's like we've got live streams at weird hours of the day and doing things, and it's an interesting thing because I had a discussion with someone out recently about my day job and my work, and the thing that I found amusing is that I haven't really ever felt like, with the exclusion of two jobs that I had, I felt this was work because I really didn't enjoy them. I haven't had a job that I didn't enjoy, as in other than those two. And it doesn't feel like work. It's more like, someone's paying me to play and do things, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And also, as part of that, in terms of the way I operate, is I don't do 9 to 5. This is, that thing and that's other thing. It's like it's basically part of the lifestyle. And if I need to do things in the evening, I do things in the evening. If I then take the next day during the day off, and I do that. It's like literally, it's about getting stuff done. And I know with Amazon and AWS specifically, that's been one of the nicest things. Is like nobody tells you what you must do. They'll sometimes suggest strongly if you're having like your one-on-one meeting with your manager, but no one will ever tell you must do this now. I mean, everything's a choice, and some choices have consequences, some don't. It's up to you. So for example, I can choose obviously to stay at home and do nothing, but then that would probably have some consequence, I think, at some point.
Well, I think especially in this time, I tend to choose a few days in the week. Is like, what, I'm not going to do anything today, and that's just my decision, which is fine. And then just the day after or a few days after, it just catches up with me all the work I need to do. So luckily, our jobs are flexible enough that we can do that. And regarding your comment on never having a job that was difficult, I would agree with the same. Especially if you're a developer, you're an engineer. A lot of times, developers and engineers come into these kind of work because you love what you're doing, right? This is what you like. You like playing, with computers, and you like banging on laptops and churning out code and all that stuff. The only thing that makes your job bad is your job environment or your work environment. Is your manager a problem? Are your colleagues a problem? And I would say, in my experience, the only problem with my IT work was my manager. I had a situation where I had a bad manager in some previous jobs, and that was bad. Like, it was just stressful. I don't mind the general IT stress. I think adopt the IT stress. I don't really mind it. I like to have some stress in my life when it comes to it. Makes you more active, makes you do things faster, energetically. But the stress coming from a manager is a problem, right? Exactly. Stress coming from a manager is a problem, and I think that would be, in my humble personal opinion, that would be the major problem of a lot of folks in IT. Like
There's only one thing that makes me
environments.
unhappy at the moment.
Your keyboard, man, don't.
No. I've made the decision now that from tomorrow, because tomorrow, in terms of things that I have to get done, I'm not as pressed for time. I'm going to be forcibly putting this keyboard down and only have this one plugged in and learn it.
Yes, that's how you do it.
So I've been reading up quite a lot on it. So just quick background: this is the ErgoDox keyboard, and the two things that are getting me is that these two, like there and there, is where the space and the enter keys are. And it's my brain just doesn't want to get that. So I'm trying to make it work. And the other part is that if you look at this keyboard physically, it's what they call a columnar.
Columnar, not orthogonal.
No. Sorry, I'm thinking about the database, the columnar database, orthogonal. It's straight down buttons. Now that is long-term better for your hands. Guess what I've been typing on for the last 25 years, though.
As most of us.
Yeah.
So, no, it would take a time. Like, I mean, I'm using just a normal keyboard. It's a smaller keyboard, but it's still a keyboard. I would love to get the ErgoDox. Like, I would love to get that one because I think it's very cool. It's expensive. It's like $300. I have no need for it. I absolutely have no need for it because I have an excellent mechanical keyboard in front of me. But still, it was like, when I see it, I'm like, every time you mention it, Cobus, every time you show it to me, it's like, oh man. And I just open up their website. I'm like, I just want to buy.
Yeah, see, for me, it was a case of this current natural keyboards. I've got the Windows, not the Windows, the Microsoft
the
Natural 4000.
Natural 4000, yeah. The best keyboard ever. The best keyboard ever.
No, this one.
Yeah, that one I had. I used it for 4 years.
No, sorry, Doctor. This is the second best keyboard ever. The best one was this one, but the predecessor that was white. Premium color.
Too old for me.
Because, wow, get off my lawn, son. The keys were more mechanical. It was mechanical like keyboard, so they had proper individual springs mounted on all of them. They were, like, the feel was just insanely good. And also the arrows were not the normal 3x1 arrows. You actually had them spaced like that, so it was much more natural to use them for things. Using it, and then just the keyboards, but they never came out in USB. Only PS2.
No. I never used that one. I have an old Commodore DIN keyboard. If you remember the DIN plug, the thing before PS2. How did you plug your keyboards before PS2? There were the big round the plugs. I'm not sure. They're called DINs.
Oh, those ones, yeah.
I still have a Commodore keyboard with that at home. It has no Windows keys at all, so it was pre-Windows. The problem is, like, I think you cannot hold more than 2 keys at once. Because if you hold more keys at once, it just starts freaking out because it doesn't know what to do. So, but it's a very chunky, very mechanical. It doesn't have the proper mechanical switches, but it has the springs and all that stuff. So it is very the old IBM clicky keyboards like the Model M. So I'm very tempted to buy a Model M. Model M is the OG IBM PC keyboard. It's like expensive now, especially if you want to get an original one. It's like couple $100 to get a good one. But it is problematic because it's purely, I think it's not even PS2, it's DIN, and it's massive. So it's not like a keyboard. I'm used to like a keyboard, like, oh, this is just a small keyboard I put fit on my desk with all the other things. But putting a Model M on my desk would be just massive. But you never know. It can be a good weapon, self-defense weapon.
You never know.
So, Cobus, my birthday is coming up in March, so feel free to buy me the ErgoDox, or just give me yours. I'm fine.
So then, what are you getting me for my birthday next week?
Next week. Why didn't you tell me before? I would have sent you a gift.
Because it wouldn't make a difference. Because just we should all know that post over here. This one. Remember when that was shipped from Germany? They put it in the post in.
Right,
June or May, I can't remember. And it arrived September.
Okay, so I'll send you a gift for next year. Is that okay? It will arrive by your next birthday. Jesus.
Don't worry.
I'm not gonna even ask how old are you, but happy birthday next week. Well, we're gonna celebrate
28.
yeah, okay. We're gonna celebrate your birthday on stream. I'm gonna buy a cake
Actually,
for
no.
myself. So yeah,
You just want a cake and eat
I
it.
just want a cake.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it's actually amusing because someone made the comment because it's just put in context. It is my 40th next week, so yes, I am that old.
Okay.
And someone made the comment like you know, you can start getting some gray hairs now, and I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, I don't need gray hairs. It's all good.
I do have gray beards. I have a few of them growing just in the middle. So I do have.
I also have some,
strands of
but
gray. Yeah.
like, The weird thing though is that I found like this is going completely off topic is that when it's not that they don't grow out gray, they're like normal, and then one day you just notice the entire hair is now gray.
Yeah.
It's like or white in my case. So I will become Gandalf the White at some point.
You will. Welcome to Technical Talks with Krobus and Darko, where we discussed why beards go gray. Hope you are all enjoying this. So apologies for the lack of direction on this. I almost said emission. So in Serbian, when we say an episode, when we say a show, we call it emisija for some reason. And it's like I almost said emission. Okay, so for this, we're sorry for the lack of the direction of the show. We have it's a Monday. Kobus didn't have enough sleep. I am stuffed to the brim with work, so we decided to take it a bit easier. So today is a very off the cuffs show. So
Informal.
we talk about super informal. We like even when it comes to new releases. Last week we kind of discussed all the things that came out, like Nitro Enclaves and Activate consoles and a whole bunch of things. So today is mostly like nothing too special. Speaking of nothing too special, has my video launched?
Let's see.
It has. Can I share
the like button?
Please let me share the video with you all and smash that like and subscribe buttons, please. It makes it easier for me to get more subscribers and all the stuff. So,
but I mean, just quickly, Darko, just don't forget about the recording you owe me for next week.
I'm not. I'm planning to do that recording, and if the weather permits it, it's going to be recorded in the forest.
Ooh, so nice.
I have a plan to do a proper talk, like a full-on webinar recording in the forest. So
that'll actually be fun. I should actually go do it in my garden because I've got some nice lemon trees out here.
You sure?
I can do it.
There's no reason why not. I mean, hey, I'm only going to bring my laptop, going to bring the camera, and I am going to bring a microphone, and I'm just going to position my laptop somewhere I can see it, have my camera in front of me, and the forest behind me. So should be interesting. Because why not? It's been a crazy year. Let's make crazy presentations. So yeah,
of course, have some fun at least.
Also, in this video, you will have to watch it because you may or may not show up at one point. So yeah.
In this video.
In the latest video. So
this now sounds like clickbait, Darko.
That's how famous YouTubers do it, right? So start selling my merch.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah.
Why is my phone screaming? Stop it.
Why do I need to fall in an abyss and Balrog and War to become the Whites? Okay, no, it's that's a very, very, very valid point. I will have to go find and look. There's probably software that's called Balrog. I can almost guarantee it. Let's quickly see. Balrog software. Balrog's documentation. It's Mozilla Balrog. What is Balrog? I'm not very. Let's see. Balrog is software that runs the server-side component of the update system used by Firefox. Okay.
Okay.
I can, I can fight a Balrog. I can fall into an abyss. That might be a bit more challenging.
Don't fall into the abyss, Kobus, please. Yeah, Balrog. I love it when companies do those kind of things. They kind of use a lot of the not social media. How is it called? Pop culture, yes. That's
Pop
also
culture.
true. Pop culture to like make names of products, or
Oh,
especially
yeah.
internal products. And like we internally at Amazon, we have a lot of internal names of services in a very pop culture way. So I'm not sure I can share any of them, but a lot of
No,
the
I don't
services
think so.
we have internally are a lot of have specific names. So,
But I mean,
very cool.
on that one, so I worked on a project also years ago, which they decided to choose river names in Europe for
Okay.
the different project names, because we were taking 3 different branches of the same app and turning them into a single multi-language, multi-time zone, multi-currency application. And if you want to screw yourself over, you have to work in 3 of those different categories at some
Okay.
point in your life. Because what we had is like we had the app that we're deploying, and each of the branches was in a different language.
Yeah.
And then also because of that, they were each only in a single time zone, and they were all
Okay.
in a single currency. Because guess what? You're deploying it just for one country, and then all of a sudden the requirement came: let's take all of these. So we merged all 3 of them into a single one. It was like a multi-month project, which was insane. And the idea there was like call them the different rivers, and then the ultimate branch that we are merging them into and fixing things was called the whatever the other river name was. The problem was
Okay.
no one could remember them, the river names, because they weren't local. And
Exactly.
yeah, we
But
just
why
ended up
did you
calling them.
European river names? I mean, you have rivers in South Africa.
Look, don't ask me. I was just a dev at that point.
We have a like in the Berlin office. We name our meeting rooms according to like the Berlin, how are they called? The boroughs of Berlin. So Berlin has a bunch of different boroughs, like part of the city, and that's how we named meeting rooms. So when I book my meeting room, I always try to book the one with my borough name. So it's like this thing where you're trying to find your own borough. I'm gonna have my meeting there. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Service has wine names. Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually,
Okay. Great topic. Server names. Cobus. Did you do any interesting server names before? I have not.
Well, I can tell you my house network.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. The Wi-Fi's name is South Park. And then my and my file server, Cartman, because nice and chunky. And then the machine that's running some of my intrusion detection things is called PC Principal. And I think my machine, I had one machine called Kenny, which is one that I kept using to test how I want to break things, and
keep on dying.
So kept on killing it. Although they haven't really killed off Kenny that much.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are the ones I've used. Previous companies I worked at was like asterisk type names in terms of for the instances or the servers. Those were the only like interesting ones. Other ones were boring names like file server 01 and that crap.
So we actually when I worked in companies, we had a very boring server names. We had like server names with a purpose. Like it would be location, purpose, and then a number. Like it would be, for example, we had a domain controller. It would be MT because it was based in Malta, DC, 01. And it was like bad. It was horrible. I have never worked in a company where we had creative server names, like because I would love to have it. Like I think having like much more creative server names is more fun, especially. Well, okay, so let me preface this. In a traditional system, having server names is more fun. In a modern system, especially in the cloud, you don't name servers. That's a thing of the past. So, but yeah, I think we have moved away a lot since having server names in production. Of course, at home you have server names because it's fun, but in like production, I don't see that happening anymore, right? So I even at home I have my little Intel NUC that serves my servers, and it's it does have a name. I need to give it a name. So I think I need to give it a name, and let me bring up.
I know what you can call it.
The old faithful. How should I call it, Coase?
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter? I'm missing the reference here. Why peanut butter?
You won't have, because my 3-year-old, when she was 1.5, and some of the first words she learned, she loved to take peanut butter on a spoon and eat it. Okay. And she went like, nucky, nucky. And you've got a little nuck.
Okay. So that, or let me ask the chat. chat, what should I name my server, my Intel NUC server that serves my Docker containers for my home automation, my legal torrent server, my Pi DNS whole thingy. So feel free to give me suggestions for the names, and I'll type it out and stick it on my server. So otherwise, it's peanut.
I've got two at least for you.
Okay, cool. Let's go.
Nucky McNuckface.
Nucky McNuckface, of course.
Or 12-piece nugget with sweet and sour sauce.
A piece nugget. Wow, man.
So please, people, get him something better.
Otherwise, it's going to be Nucky McNuckface. So,
or call it Bob.
Or Bob.
Oh
man. These nuts.
These nuts. Wow, yeah.
That's great. Okay, we're getting there. Also, fun thing last week, I bought me a bunch of SSDs. So SSDs have become so cheap. Like, I bought, this is a 240 gig SSD, 31 euros. 31 euros for this thing. So compare that to like I bought my first SSD 7 years ago. It was 120 gigabyte OCZ. OCZ doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And I paid like 150 euros for it or something like that. So now they're super cheap, and I bought a bunch of them. Now these are, mind you, not the best. These are, I believe they're DRAM-less, and they're not the fastest things in the world compared to like Samsung SSDs. But I use these just to install OSs on them and keep on replacing them. So it's easier for me than to do that. Adrian, Skynet. Skynet is too obvious, and I don't think that my little
No. It's no longer obvious. Ask me how I know, because I did a talk. When was it? Feb or Jan? Basically introducing deep racer machine learning to a bunch of school kids, so aged between 13 and 18. And first thing I realized is that you might not want to put a face of a Terminator up there, because that might be PG rated or 18 rated and not appropriate for the crowd. First one. Secondly, when I did show them the Skynet, I made the joke, like, when everybody thinks machine learning, they tend to think, Skynet taking over the world. I'm like, just quickly show of hands. Who knows what Skynet is?
No. People didn't know what Skynet was. Wow, man, Jesus. Okay. Yeah. All right. I mean, younger generations, I get it. But hey, you should still try to find what Skynet is. It's kind of the evil AI of choice, especially in the world where we talk a lot about AI and we like to joke about it. So make sure to know what Skynet is. So I'm gonna call my NUC server. I like this from Ramedes. It's called Knucklehead. I'm gonna call it
Knucklehead. Yes,
Knucklehead. That's a very nice play on words. So lowercase k, uppercase Nuck.
Nucky. Yeah.
I wonder why these things never have a QWERTY keyboard. These things always have a keyboard that's laid out like this. I'm not sure why. Is there like a reason it's for that? But
I have no.
Please prove you're not a sentient AI posing for Twitch user. Yes, please prove you're not AI. Knucklehead. I think I printed it. Okay. All right.
Please tell me you made a typo.
I didn't. Okay, good. Knucklehead is not something I typed often, so yeah. So this is going on my Intel NUC now. I also need to change this host name, because the host name is just Intel NUC. So I'm gonna have to change all that stuff, and I need to get more servers apparently. But this little thing that has 8 gigs of RAM and a i5 CPU does the job for me perfectly. Especially when it comes to like the things it's doing.
But remember, Doc, I showed you the next server you want to get.
You did, but Cobus Cobus keeps showing me like those micro servers, the amazing HP micro servers. Like, do you need this? You need this. Oh, man, I would love to have those things, but I really don't have the reason to buy it other than just wanting it. So
let me just quickly pop up a new browser here. Oh, wait, wrong screen.
G6. Well, Viva AZ, it's a relatively old NUC. I think it's like at least 7 years old. Rum it's not an HP Superdome. My God, that was an expensive thing. I think it was like $100,000 or something like that.
Just quickly want to show you. So the one that I've so this is the latest Gen. What's it? Gen 10. So what I have is I've got two of these, which is the Gen 10 one. Yeah, which is quite nice. But I also have the N40L. I've got two of these.
So these are the old ones, yeah.
Yeah. And now the thing that I've been attempting Darko with, and you'll appreciate this, is the Gen 10 Plus.
Plus, yeah, the small
ones. Basically, the reason these servers are awesome, they're literally like this big. They're like these little boxes. They come with 4 hard drive slots, removable ones in the front, so you can just slot them in. They're not hot swappable, but you can just easily access them. And it's a full server with at least 2 network cards, unless you go for this little. Here we go. This little one. And let's see if we can open up the page quickly. Because this one has got something in that Darko is the same as I am with regards to hardware. Where when he installed this, he's like, I need this. Exactly. So you can see it's small little server. Show more. That took a while. What the inside looks like, but then, dun. Let's make
4NX. I mean, to be fair, I don't have
network cards.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't have a need for 4NX. I don't know where to plug it in. I think my router. I actually have a thing next to me that has more ports, but yeah, it's still amazing. Tririan, is this a commercial stream? It's not. We're discussing technology that interests us, so by no means anything is commercial here. We are talking nerdy things and servers, and this is an amazing. How many discs can this one fit in?
4 2.5-inch discs.
2.5-inch, yeah. And just to show people, let me show you the NUC I'm having. This is the NUC. So for everybody wondering how powerful it is, it's this. It's a 3rd gen i5 CPU. So it's, I think, just 4 cores. I think it's 4 cores. It is. Let's start. It is 4 cores. Nothing special. It's 8 gigs of RAM, but the thing is, most of it's not using anything. It has currently, I think, Docker PS. It has 2 containers running on it, and that's it. It also has a sync thing running on it, but it is very capable of doing what I want it to do, and it's almost no load. So if it has like 0.0 something load, so it's nothing. I wouldn't be able to justify having anything more. Well, so I'm always tempted to buy what Cobus shows me, but can't justify it.
What's my one running? It's very similar actually. Let me put this on the screen again. Yeah. So this is what my one is running. It's
it's an i3.
3rd generation i3. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, again, for most of the things we're doing, this should be perfectly sufficient. I mean, unless you're running some high compute workloads, but if you're running some high compute workloads at home on a micro server, set your priorities different a bit. Let's call it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, I need to go spend time and get the other ones up and running because I used to run a Mesos and Marathon cluster, So for those not familiar with it, Mesos is an app from a company that was called Mesosphere. It's now called GTOIQ, I think. The name rebranded for some reason. And that was basically a distributed computing platform. That was, here's a job that you want to go execute. It was built for big clusters at universities and things, doing like large kinds of those distributed workload things. Then they built one of the, you can install many different plugins on top of it. And one of the plugins was Marathon, which is the container orchestrator type plugin on top. And that was my first orchestrator, and I ran it for years at home, and it was super useful and fun for my 3 containers that I ran. Yes, I did overkill it. Which is hilarious, but yeah, it's,
I have 2 or 3 containers available on this one, and I run them with Docker CLI. I don't even use Docker Compose. It was just Docker CLI, and that's it.
So here's one argument for Docker Compose. I was like that as well when I moved away from Mesos Marathon. Is that create yourself a Docker Compose file, because then you can put it in a repo and back it up instead of losing your command history.
I did it right now for my latest image. I did for that legal torrenting server. So I've basically set up a Docker Compose for just that because there's a lot more flags I want to set on that one. So Docker Compose would make more sense, and I think I'm going to convert my old ones to Docker Compose as well because it's much more readable because hey, it's YAML, so it is much more approachable than just doing your CLI. Because right now what happens is like if I restart my server and my Docker doesn't start, I have to go through my history and just find the command I ran because
that's if your history is there. You better hope that your history is still there. That's why I stopped, because I realized that my history got lost, and it was really, really, really annoying.
But yeah, in my home office, actually my home lab, I have two NAS units. I have one of those Western Digital cloud things that have like two bays for two 3.5-inch disks, and I have one of the Synology, the old small Synology, which can take four 2.5-inch drives. And those are my NAS things, and I even have a USB disk connected to one of my Synologies, and that's all I have. But thanks to this coronavirus situation and the amount of videos I record, I have almost filled up my 2 terabytes of storage on my NAS unit. So I need to think about expanding it, and I have it in mirrored because I have only 2 disks, and I don't want to lose my data because on my Western Digital I already also have 2 disks, and one of them died. So I need to replace another disk on my Western Digital one, and I need to add more disks on my Synology. So the data center is filling up slowly. So yeah, that's gonna be my project for the upcoming days, is to try and add more storage to that. But my next big project is replacing the fan on an old laptop, replacing the wireless card on an old laptop. So I have my old laptop disassembled, and thank you Lenovo, thank you IBM for making your laptop serviceable. Thank you. It's just amazing that you can just completely tear it down and just replace things on it. So it is a really, really neat thing to do. So yeah.
I still have I need to find an old power brick for it. I found my very first laptop that I bought, but I can't start it up because I don't have a power brick for it at the moment.
Which laptop is it?
Oh, this is old. It's I showed it once. What was it? The Acer? Wait, hold on.
Acer something, I heard. Old laptops are a thing for me.
Today's not an ARM day. I need to.
Wow, that is very early. Man, it's a Toshiba, no?
Yes.
Isn't that a Toshiba? Yeah. I think I had the same one. I had this exact same one at my like second job, right? So
yeah. Lithium-ion battery. Wow, this doesn't seem like a lot of capacity. This one only has 4,000 milliamp hours. That seems like tiny.
I believe the old laptops have something like that. If I recall correctly, they are not overly generous with laptop batteries, but they tend to last if they're optimized-ish.
Yeah, sorry, we're losing Docker a little bit there.
No, I'm here. My Lenovo battery is just 2,000 milliamp hour, 2,000 or 2 amp hours. So there we go.
Okay.
A question from Remedy this: if you have a fast CPU, can you emulate PowerPC or ARM quite good with QEMU? You can, but depends. If you want to emulate ARM, I would advise you just get a Raspberry Pi. That's sufficient. Any Raspberry Pi would do it, depending on what you want to do. If you want to play around with ARM to do something more advanced, there's always the Graviton EC2 instances on AWS that you can play with. You can get the small types of Graviton instances to play around. When it comes to PowerPC, emulating PowerPC was always a problem. I know there was this thing called PurePC that you can do, that you can emulate the PowerPC CPU and you can run some old versions of macOS on it. So yeah, that's kind of a thing. But never had to play around with it. I did work with PowerPC. I did a few times have to set up AIX, if I recall correctly. IBM AIX laptops on IBM PowerPC servers. I did have to set up once HPUX on an HP server. And speaking of that, let's see if this is done. I have an eBay auction going on that I may. It's not done yet, but I have an eBay auction going on a Sun workstation. Currently, somebody's selling it in Europe, I think, for 50 euros, like a Sun workstation. So like Sun Spark workstation. It's a big old tower. So if I manage to get it, I'm gonna be very happy. But I'm not sure. I'm not gonna pay too much for it because they are expensive ones. There's like they go up to 1,000 euros. I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay anything over 100 euros for that. So if I manage to get it, that's gonna be amazing. So if I do, expect some Sun Spark videos soon. But yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, no, I was actually laughing. This laptop's old enough that it has got a D-sub in terms of video output and a S-video plug, the round one.
The round one, the S-video, my God, no. So,
yeah.
This thing doesn't have an S-video thing, but yeah. This is the dock for, that's a dock for Lenovo.
Oh, yeah.
So it has the parallel port and the things you need. The beauty of these things. So how great were these things? Okay, not just the fact that you have all these ports. You have a disk drive in it. You can literally rip out the CD drive and put in a proper hard disk drive inside, and have an external disk only when you attach your laptop to it. This, like, I wish docks were more docks than they are right now, right? Even the laptop manufacturers that make docks, like even IBM, they don't make them as good as this. Like, it's just a thing. It's a port replicator, but they're not a proper dock anymore. So, but yeah, I have this thing here, and I plug in my X60 on it. So lovely.
Yeah, and I mean, I was actually looking at something like for my MacBook, a proper USB-C, not necessarily a dock, but like a massive port replicator, because I want Ethernet, like 2 or 3 screen outputs and a whole bunch of things, and it's just like there's nothing really on the market for it. It's like
there's the HP ones. HP ones are relatively okay. They have like DisplayPort. You can do 4K out of it. You can do Ethernet. You can do all those stuff from a single USB-C port for a MacBook. You have to be careful which port do you plug it in, because not all Mac ports are created equal. So some of them are actual proper Thunderbolt, some of them are not. So it's okay. I do find my Mac struggling when I plug it into that dock, as the drivers are not very optimized. My Mac starts really burning up when it starts running stuff through that. So it's okay. I'm actually expecting a new Mac today, so I'm supposed to get a new 16-inch MacBook.
What are you going to call it?
The Big Apple. Way. because it's humongous. So I'm replacing my 13-inch one with a 16-inch one, just because it has a proper GPU inside. So it has first of all, it has the proper keyboard. Goodbye, crappy keyboard from Apple. It has an escape key. Oh my God, that's a feature now. It has an escape key. God. So as a Vim user, escape is something that I smash a lot, right? Like, you should smash the subscribe button.
Wow, Darko. Wow.
I'm on a roll today. I'm sorry. And it has the proper escape key and all the stuff, and it has a Radeon GPU inside. So I can actually do some proper video editing on it, not just if I try to do video editing on my Mac, it just kind of starts to lift off and just die. So no.
I'm actually curious. Is there actually a specific encoding? What do you call it?
The video encoding?
Codec. A codec, yeah. Let's see, actually. Yeah. I don't know. No, the reason I ask is I know I've got NVIDIA GPUs in this machine that's now white on my face over here.
You can use the NVENC one. Like, if you do H.264, it uses NVENC, so it's much better. It's much faster. But in general, like, for me, the export, I don't care too much. Like, it takes 10 minutes to export a video. If it takes 20 minutes, it's fine. What I care about is when I use it, when I actually open up DaVinci Resolve, it doesn't just blow up, right? If I open up DaVinci Resolve on this and I have a browser open, it just starts to go sideways and heat up and throttle. And I mean, I'm not saying that the new one will not throttle, but the new one is thicker. So actually they have increased the thermal solution for that one. So hopefully that will be better. Speaking of hopefully it will be better, hopefully you have enjoyed the stream. hopefully you're
Mhm.
going to join
Oh,
us
wow,
on
yes.
Friday again. It's the time for us to end the stream. Thank you everybody for being part of this impromptu Monday stream where we didn't have a proper technical topic, but we did discuss some history, some nostalgia, our old jobs, our first IT jobs. We discussed why beards go white and why laptop batteries used to be small, and how to you named my server. Thank you. I have a new server called Knucklehead right now at home. So I'll be posting that on it. So thank you for the suggestion, Mr. Where is Remedies? So yeah. What else? What else this week is happening? Yes, make sure to check out my video on YouTube. Let me post a link here because did I post a link before? I'm not sure. I'll post the money. So my latest YouTube video on AWS CDK recorded while me walking in the forest. I did post a story link before. Yeah. If you are interested in that, check it out. Do throw a like, do throw a comment, do give me feedback. Is that good or not? Can I do better? And Cobus, you make sure to check it out. You want to see yourself somewhere in that video. But you may need to watch it whole.
I'm not concerned.
It's nothing. I've been nice to you. But
Okay. Well, in that case.
there's also a link to our streams in that video and to your YouTube channel and all the stuff. So
Nice.
yeah. Cool. Once again, thank you. Thank you, Cobus. And
And adios.
adios. I will be ending the stream. And everybody enjoy the week. Bye-bye.